Suffolk Pod Show is produced and managed by podtalkuk.
Episode 5, talking to Nina Grand, founder of Grand Organisers, a Suffolk-based company which literally declutters our lives. Nina is a champion of all that makes our personal and working space less muddled and jumbled, and she's here to talk to us about what she does and how she can help. She's an inspiration and a blessing to her clients. Introducing Nina Grand. Hello, Nina.
Hi, Suzanne. Well, thank you for that intro. It's very nice. Thank you for having me on as well. Thank you.
So, it's our pleasure, absolute pleasure. We're looking forward to lifting the lid, if you like, on the mysticism that lies behind a professional declutterer. But first of all, we've spoken to you quite a bit before. We know that you've made some serious, major life changes to be able to follow this dream.
Well, yes, that's definitely true. Well, I'll try and briefly summarise the last couple of years. I had worked in education for many years. I was actually an examinations officer working in further education in London, and along with my husband, who also works in further education, and he's a teacher. And we were both really happy in our jobs and loved working with young people and adult learners. It's a very exciting environment to be working in. But things changed, and we both started to yearn a change personally. Basically, very good friends of ours had moved to Suffolk several years beforehand, had fallen in love with the county, and kept saying to us, "You should move up here. It's fantastic. It's lovely. We're so happy up here." I had family in Norfolk, and so it was a good compromise. It was the right time, so we thought we'd give Suffolk a try. So we upped sticks and moved here several years ago. And basically, what with relocating, changing jobs, and the fact that I turned 40 all in the same year, I had a bit of a, I wouldn't say midlife crisis, I had a midlife career crisis. And I found that I'd always wanted to start my own business, but had never felt, I suppose, brave enough to take the step. So the move to Suffolk felt like the start of a lot of new things, and it felt like the right time to explore what I could do. And basically, after a year of doing sort of odd short courses and reading lots of books on starting a business, the one big message that came through when thinking about starting a business was that you really need to be passionate about what it was you wanted to do, as that passion would see you through sort of the good times and the not so good times of being a business owner. And so just to sort of summarise, I sort of started looking at myself, thinking about my skills, my experience, what my passions were, basically wanting to sort of be in a profession where I was helping others. So along with a passion I had for organisation, I didn't quite know how the two could marry. However, I eventually came across a profession in the USA actually called professional organising. And as they say, the rest is history. I found my dream job.
Yeah, amazing. And they do say that you have to do, when you're running your own business, it has to be your vocation in life as well as your love. You know, otherwise, as you've just said, quite rightly, it doesn't work.
You're listening to Susanna Hornby talking to Nina Grand from Grand Organisers here on the Suffolk Pod Show.
Tell us exactly, Nina, what a professional organiser is.
So firstly, I want to mention a lady called Marie Kondo. She's basically a very famous organiser and declutterer. She wrote a book called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying a few years ago. And she's also had a series on Netflix to do with the benefits of living with less clutter and being more organised in our daily habits. And so she's been really great for my profession because she's highlighted what people like myself can help with. You know, professional organisers and declutterers, we're skilled people, we're experts in our field, and we do this job to help people, for whatever reason, may find themselves in a bit of a mess, whether it's at home or in the office, it doesn't matter where, but don't quite know how to get back on top or tackle it really. So we're there to help and support people.
And I think you've noticed it's starting to increase as a profession in the UK.
For sure, yes. I think for quite a few years people haven't quite understood what the profession is about or how we, you know, what we're about, who we can help. So as I say, Marie has been, you know, quite fundamental because she's kind of got it out there to the masses. Okay, not everybody may have heard of her, but she's really opened it up globally for an industry to support those who, as I say, for whatever reasons, just may need that kind of help and support. And it's luckily in the UK, people are now really getting on board with it and really understanding the benefits. So hence why I am in the profession and can run a business through it because, you know, my clients use my services and really benefit from it.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about your clients there, and I think it's really easy to stereotype the types of people that we imagine you deal with. You deal with a full spectrum of different clients.
Yes, that's very true. Well, I believe that many people think somebody like myself either does perhaps wardrobe declutters all day long, or may deal with people with hoarding tendencies. And yes, to be honest, these are definitely services that I do a lot of, but there are many other services that an organiser can also provide. Sort of just briefly, we can help seniors to downsize when moving from sort of, the larger family homes into perhaps a smaller, like retirement property. We declutter and reorganise whole households, or literally just one-off rooms or sheds, garages. We can help with paperwork organisation, or if somebody has recently lost somebody and needs sort of a gentle bit of hand and, bit of support to sort through, their loved one's possessions. We're basically there to help and support our clients when they need it. And my clients consist of a wide spectrum of people, actually. There is no one type. And that's the thing. No one should feel embarrassed or ashamed about getting into a situation where things have got a little bit too much to handle. There are all times in our lives when something may happen or change, like a relationship breakup, a bereavement, like I mentioned earlier, problems with our health, and it can impact greatly on our living environments, because emotionally, you may not have the strength to deal with the day-to-day normalness of life. And so clutter then becomes a thing, and disorganisation then becomes a thing. And it's through maybe no fault of your own that you find yourself in this predicament. And, a lot of my clients, I think, feel, how did I get like this? I was never like this. But there's usually always a reason. There's always usually a trigger, a life happening as to why it's got to that stage.
No, I mean, it's absolutely right, isn't it? And as you just said, it can happen to anyone.
Yes, yeah, it really can. And as I said, there is no one type. And I think that's the message I always like to get across. I do a lot of community talks, and I like to sort of get the message over that not to feel embarrassed or ashamed. It can happen to any of us at any time because of these life happenings and these changes in situations. And emotionally, we can't always be on top of things 100% of the time. Sometimes we don't feel great. Sometimes life's a bit of a struggle. So all of those factors play a part. Yeah. And as I say, I see it on a daily basis, how it manifests in the home. We have to really, a life skill is we have to kind of be organised and well run in our homes and our lives for everything to kind of tick along nicely. That's the way of modern day living. So if you have a little bump in the road, it can easily start piling up really quickly.
You're listening to Susanna Hornby talking to Nina Grand from Grand Organisers here on the Suffolk Pod Show.
How do your clients respond to you actually when you're working in their home?
Well, at first, most clients aren't sure quite what to expect. But when you obviously start working with a client, you very quickly start building a trust by being sensitive and sympathetic, because you are in their home and you are there to help them and support them. And so very quickly, people warm to you and relax. And as I said, perhaps that initial embarrassment or shame of their situation quickly goes, because you make them feel okay about it. And that's part of my job, to make my client feel happy. We've got the project in hand and they've got support to help them with the project at hand. Sometimes initially there is a little bit of, I think, worry and anxiety there, which is completely understandable. But somebody like myself, a professional organiser, I'm part of an association called APDO. So it's the UK Association of Professional Organisers and Declutterers, basically. And as part of that association, we as members have to have a particular criteria. So we have to be registered with the ICO, which is the Information and Commissioner's Office. So for data protection purposes, things like that. Yeah. So clients feel confident that they know that their information isn't going to be forwarded or, repeated anywhere. Everything stays completely confidential. We also have DBS checks, which are the criminal run checks. So that's, again, that's a safeguard for people or clients thinking about, employing somebody like myself. They know that I've had a criminal check, I'm registered with the ICO, and obviously obviously I'm fully insured. So that gives people a bit of peace of mind as to who they're letting into their homes.
No, quite. And I think, just talking to you, Nina, you sound like somebody that I could open up to, definitely. You have that way about you, Nina.
Well, thank you very much. That's a compliment. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well,
yeah,
I
that's
mean
great.
How are you working at the moment with the sort of COVID-19 parameters?
Well, of course, there are precautions in place. So prior to any project or site visit, there are lots of discussions with clients. But on a practical sense, when going into a property, assuming everything is all okay, both my end and the client's end, I obviously wear PPE equipment. I wear a face mask. I always wear gloves, so my hands are always covered, and they're changed regularly. So, I constantly sort of change my gloves. So if there's damage to the gloves, I've always got spare changes of things, as well as obviously carrying lots of antibacterial hand sanitizer with me at all times. And also, might sound a bit strange, but especially at this moment in time, my clothing and footwear are washed daily and changed for every project. So I'm always in clean, kind of reused footwear. I'm kind of literally walk in the door and wash everything.
We're the same. And, I think people forget, when you go out to a place and you think, I've just got to do my hands and my face. But actually, it's all of your clothes. It's your hair. It's your shoes. And as you say, everything needs to be sanitized and totally clean to go into the next location. Yeah,
we've got to be very careful for not only ourselves, but obviously, for our clients. So, yes, we, that's a very, very important issue at this moment in time. Yeah.
The length of jobs that you do must be hugely variable.
Yes, they are. A job is always dependent on your client and how they want to work and at what pace they want to work. Now, I am there as a gentle guidance to push you in the right direction, because obviously it can be quite an issue for people to sort through their items, as in, there might be decisions that they're not sure, they want to make or they're ready to make. So my job, again, is to be a gentle guidance for the client to help them make decisions. They're always making the decisions, but my job is to help them make decisions about their possessions. So a job can take anything from one session, perhaps a couple of hours one day, to perhaps like a couple of sessions over a couple of weeks. But again, it's dependent on the kind of job you're doing, to the kind of client you're working with. So, for example, if you were sort of decluttering and organising one room, that could take perhaps 4 hours, one session, 4 hours, one afternoon, one morning, job done. But obviously that depends on the volume of items you have to go through and reorganise and work through and sort. But with the other spectrum of perhaps somebody with chronic disorganisation or hoarding tendencies, that's obviously a very different project time-wise, and that's done over a longer period of time. And also you have to, again, bear in mind how your client is able to work and how quickly they want to work. So you want to be that gentle force for them to push them in the right direction. But if they want to work at a particular pace, then obviously that's the pace you've got to work alongside your client with. So yes, it's very variable and can depend completely on the client and the job at hand.
I can imagine. So Nina, how do people get in touch with you?
So people can visit my website, which is www.grandorganisers.com. They can email me at info@grandorganisers.com, and I'm on Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, I mentioned earlier, I also do community talks on the subject of decluttering and organising, so please feel free to get in touch if you'd like me to come and talk in an event you may be having. It would be an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. That sounds wonderful. Thank you, Nina. That's been really enlightening talking to you. Thank you so much. That is so interesting, and we wish you well, and we look forward to catching up with you and maybe coming and seeing you at one of your community talks.
Well, that would be lovely, and thank you again for having me on. It's been lovely to talk to you, and I'm really honoured to be on the Suffolk Pod Show, so thank you so much.
Oh, Nina, you're so nice. That's really
Brilliant.
good.
Oh, thank you both.
That's
Thanks
a pleasure.
for making it easy.
Speak
Have
to
a
you
good
later.
day.
And
Bye.
you. Bye.
And to get in touch with Nina Grand, here's her website again, www.grandorganisers.com.
Thanks for listening to the Suffolk Pod Show. Find us on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. Or you can visit our website, podtalkuk.co.uk. And here's our disclaimer.
The Suffolk Pod Show will not be held responsible for any omissions or errors in its podcast.
The Suffolk Pod Show is produced purely for entertainment purposes. Views and opinions are that of our own or that of our guests.